can you travel the world when you're not rich? You need to define your priorities. Now, what do I mean by that? You need to determine, what kind of trip do I want? Is there any particular thing of interest to me? Am I looking to, is it an adventure? What are the things that I would like to do at my destination? What kind of trip am I looking for? Am I looking at a beach vacation? Am I looking at a trip where I want to connect with people and learn about the culture? Am I looking at a trip where I just want to, relax and then pamper myself? These are the things that you need to consider, because it would determine how much, it would help you define how much you're going to spend on your trip. Two people may be going on a trip to the same destination, but each of them might have different objectives for their vacation. I might be traveling because I want to go on an adventure, I want to meet people, I want to learn a new culture. But the second person might be traveling, oh no, I have worked so hard, I really just want to find somewhere nice, maybe like a beach vacation, and then maybe like relax and unwind and maybe just enjoy myself before I come home. So when you define what kind of trip you want to have, it would help you determine what would be a priority to you. And then also at the same time, you can also determine, okay, what you can give up in order to achieve your travel goals. The next thing you want to do is to determine the cost of your trip. This is a major part of deciding if you would travel or not. Yes, everybody wants to, yes, we all, go on social media and then we see beautiful pictures of a destination. Everybody wants to have that, but you have to, tell yourself the truth. There's no point wanting to go to the Maldives and stay at, let's say an overwater bungalow when you know that you cannot afford it. How do you determine the cost of your trip? First, you need to determine how much your flight airfare would cost. You should also determine how much the accommodation would cost. And then you also need to determine how much you would need, let's say, as your pocket money. If you're traveling on a budget, you want to make your trip as short as possible. Unless you have a family member that you will be staying with, you want to make your trip as short as possible, because if you're traveling for 2 weeks, you're going to be paying for accommodation for the entire 2 weeks. But if you cut your trip to 7 days, you'll probably be paying for just 7 days. So you want to travel to Dubai in December, and then you have actually gone through the costing and realized that you cannot afford to travel to Dubai. Now, two things can happen. Two things should happen. You can pick another destination that is cheaper than Dubai, or you can give yourself time to save more money so you can go to Dubai. Now, which is it going to be? If you cannot afford, to your desired destination, and you do not want to, save more, maybe give yourself time to save more, you can pick an alternative destination. Let's even say you cannot afford this alternative destination. You should think local. Now, what do I mean? Most times people think they need to travel really far to have a very good trip, but I have good news for you. You live in one city, you can be a tourist in your own city. You can travel to a different city, you can explore. I have traveled to destinations within Nigeria that I experienced, and had as much fun that like I do when I travel abroad. So let's say you cannot afford an international trip, which I understand that most people may not be able to afford. Then you should actually look within your country and decide on where you can visit. Explore places around. Be a tourist in your own city, because there are people who live, every day, from maybe let's say they go from work, they go back home, they go to church, they visit a friend, they go, but they never really take time to explore places around them. There are times I post pictures of destination in, let's say, like Lagos, and then people come at me like, where is this place? And I'm like, it's in Lagos. And they're like, oh, I have never heard of it. So, and then I just give them that information. So most times you can have just as much fun exploring places around you. At least you know that you would be knocking out the expensive airfares. You wouldn't have to, pay as much money, that you would pay on international flights. And then you just pick a really, really nice, location. If you're looking for, let's say, beach vacation, Lagos, for example. I live in Lagos, Nigeria, so I'm going to be using my city as, reference. So Lagos has really, really nice beach resorts that you can visit and just have as much fun as you would if you were to travel abroad. And it would also be cost effective. Where you cannot afford to travel far, and you cannot wait to save enough to make that trip, then you should actually think local. Think local by visiting destinations that you haven't visited within your country. Like I always say, once a year, go somewhere that you have never been before. Travel during off seasons. Now, for example, Christmas period, a lot of people will be on holiday, and then they would want to travel. They would want to travel during that period. If you're planning a trip and you're planning it on a budget, you should avoid, seasons like that. Travel just before the peak seasons or after the peak season. It's expensive to travel in those periods. Avoid traveling during this when everyone else is traveling. So when everyone else is coming back, then you can, go on your own trip, because then you would actually be able to lock in on last minute deals, and then you would be traveling a lot cheaper than you would have if you were traveling during the peak seasons. Other than your airfare, your accommodation is going to be your accommodation would form a major cost. I always tell people, yes, it's beautiful to stay in a 5-star hotel, or you just want to relax, you want to be able to walk out, wear your bathrobe, take a picture, have a jacuzzi in your room. We all love those things, but can you afford it? If you cannot afford it, then why do you want it? If you cannot afford it and you think, okay, if you give yourself time, you would be able to, pay for it, then by all means do it. But why do you want to stay in a 5-star hotel if you are in a city to explore, if you're in a city to connect with others, if you're going to be spending most of your time outdoor? If you can afford it, it's a different thing. Do it. But if you cannot afford it, there are lots of budget accommodation that you can actually pay for. You can get very clean and nice accommodation on a budget. Yes, it will not be luxurious, but it would meet your need. Another thing you want to do is you want to look out for last minute deals. You might be planning a trip and then you think, okay, I have it all figured out, and then all of a sudden you find out that the destination you wanted to visit for so long, there's a maybe, let's say, the airline that goes directly to that destination is doing a promo. Let's say you want to travel to Dubai, and then go on, sign up, go to, let's say, Emirates and Etihad, and then sign up, to receive their newsletters, because most times they will send you deals directly to your email. So look out for those deals. Even on accommodation, you might find, let's say, hotels that are willing to say, okay, if you book up to 3 nights, you get the 4th night free. So you'll be saving money on the 4th night if you do that. So also look out for last minute deals. And then the next thing is, if you're also traveling on a budget, then it's important, join a group tour. And of course, I would recommend you join Workaholic Adventure. Now, why do I want you to join a group tour? Because for group trips, the planner, the trip planner would actually go through the pain of getting the best, deals, and rates in terms of accommodation and flight tickets, just so the package would look attractive. If you join a group trip, first of all, you don't have to go through the headache of planning, that trip. You would have someone else plan the trip for you, and then all you just do is show up. Have a good day. Bye.